I was lost, aimless and depressed. Now I'm only two of those things. I guess lost and aimless. Hi guys, it's Actual. How's everyone doing? Good, good, good. I hope. Today I'm reviewing another imaginary author's fragrance, and this one is called Slow Explosions. I'm always excited to review their fragrances. I don't know why, there's just something about them. I don't know. Anyway, this one really, the backstory of it is kind of really special to me, only because it is themed around India. And if anyone knows me already, you will know that I love India. So this is an oriental fragrance. It came out in 2012, so it's quite an old one of theirs, but still going strong from what I know. And I have the little cool ass bookmark thing that they give you, or you get when you buy a fragrance by them. And the imaginary author behind this one is Gwen K. Vrooman. It's basically about a lady who went to a bar and wanted an adventure, and the barman dared her to throw a dart at a map, and she threw a dart and she ended up going to India. One of my biggest loves in the world. Even more so, Goa, which is the place that I go to in India. Anyway, so, as you know, imaginary authors' fragrances always have some kind of fantasy note that just plays with your mind a little bit and makes you kind of delve a bit deeper into what the fragrance is. Can you conjure up this imaginary note they have? And I'll tell you the notes of this one. So the notes are saffron, rose absolute, leather, apple, benzoin, cashmeran, which if you don't know already is to me quite an intensely woody note. It's a molecule thing, it's not an actual real thing that's extracted from nature. It's something that people put in fragrances to make them feel a bit more woody. And then the fantasy note on this one is the real clincher for me, and that is Arpura Night Market. It's a place in Goa, in the north of Goa, that I've actually been to. It's a typical crazy Indian market, people shouting, people selling their wares, you know. I bought the most gorgeous bedspread when I went there, just covered in sequins and all kinds of stuff. Not practical to sleep in at all. But yeah, the place is chaotic. It's on a river, there's musicians everywhere. It's just one of those chaotic markets that aren't civilized that I absolutely live for. So that's the fantasy note. And I've been wearing this a lot. I mean, this is probably the 10th time I've worn this one. It's taken me a long while to figure it out. I'm spraying it on the card, but I'm wearing it today anyway. And let me go through the way I think it smells with you. So this one's themed on travel. It's themed on reckless abandon, something that appeals to me massively. I am that person that would throw a dart at a dartboard and just go. Funds are a factor, but still, I would do it every day if I had endless amounts of money. So this one, let me spray it on my hand again. I mean, it's everywhere right now, but I'm gonna refresh it. So this one is really, when you first smell it, it opens rough. It opens really rough. It's saffron and leather, bang, in your face straight away. And I always say, and I'll say it in this review, and I will say it in every other review that comes from this brand, that they do have a house style. There is a tonality and a character that comes from every single one of their fragrances, and that is something that is a bit rough. They have this kind of dusty, rough feeling to every single fragrance I've smelled from them, whether it be a citrus, whether it be an iris, whether it be anything. It's always got, but they always have this rough feeling, and this one is right there straight away. It's a rough leather. It's almost like an exotic leather. The saffron is giving it a hint of something from far away, but it's like a rough leather jacket with an exoticness. I don't know, it's like a suave guy come up to you, know, from another country, an exotic country, I shall say, that's wearing a leather jacket, and it punches you in the face really quickly, but it doesn't stay like that forever. And this one is quite surprising in the way of where it goes. It starts out to me, okay, it's got that imaginary author's signature, but it's all about this leather at first. And you have these apples bubbling away in the background, just waiting to come forward. And that's what happens next. So it does start to leave its kind of dry, rough stage, and what happens is once the apples and rose start to take hold of this composition, that's where it gets into its stride and it really starts to feel like the fragrance I think it was meant to be. It's really cool. I will say that the Apora Night Market thing is, well, some of their other fragrances you can feel this fantasy thing that happens. Having smelled Apora Night Market, I think it's maybe just a fun idea as opposed to something that they might have put in the fragrance. I don't know. It should really smell a lot more incensey and, I don't know, dirty river water and onion bhajis, because that's what it smells like there. But once the apples and rose start to take hold, it really does start to, for the first time with any Imaginary Authors fragrance, it starts to become a little bit more pretty. Even though this is a unisex fragrance, the roses start to lend a brightness to the fragrance, the apples start to lend a fruitiness. They're never full-on orchard apple, you know, that kind of thing, but they always take a backseat, the apple notes in this, but you can always feel them there. And apples and roses together, I mean, it's kind of like English country garden, which is off theme, might I add. But still, there's enough saffron and stuff like that to keep it in the exotic, in India. I do really wish that the theme of this had been a lot more heavy. It's themed on India. I would love something completely incense based or even jasmine, something like that. But this isn't, you know, Imaginary Authors aren't going to do that. They're going to do what the hell they want. So I really like it when it changes because it starts to become a little bit more elevated and a little bit more bright. So it starts in this almost dark leathery place, but it does become a lot more bright, and there's almost a powderiness that comes out of this, which is really cool. It's nice that the rose is showcased so much. I do kind of wish that the entire thing was based more around jasmine as opposed to rose, because I see roses as being very British in my head. I know they grow everywhere, but I see them as being British, and jasmine is more, sandalwood jasmine is more the India flower. But that's just one little gripe. This does also feel like, and this is kind of a negative, it does feel like one of those fragrances that is really bursty at first. It's kind of top loaded, it's in your face, and it's one of those ones where you think, whoa, if you judged it on the top notes or the opening of it, you might be put off, but you really do have to let it go to where it needs to go. It's a big developer. The downside of that is the development of this fragrance, when it gets to kind of the heart and the base, it becomes closer, so it's not a super projector anymore. So I know that works for a lot of people if you are someone that likes your fragrances a little bit more quiet, but it becomes pretty. I don't know, it becomes a little bit more feminine. It's a great transition from rough leather to a more rosy and fruity, appley, orchard-like feeling, and that's kind of cool. I appreciate both stages of it. I do wish that it was more of a projector when it was in the when it is in the later stages of the wearing. So yeah, let me just waft it for a second. So yeah, I don't get that much longevity out of this. I think probably at maximum, at full strength, I get about 4 hours, given it's not one of the stronger ones from Imaginary Authors, which is strange because of the stuff that's in here, you know. Leather is normally quite a long-lasting heavy note, and, you know, saffron, roses normally last very long. They're pretty cool, but this one does leave something to be desired, but the overall smell of it is something pretty awesome. I like that it's quite edgy. For them, it's something a little bit more bold. Their fragrances are quite bold, but this steps up a lot, where they're just, we're going to showcase leather and you're going to like it, basically. So that's all I'm going to say about this fragrance for today, guys. I hope you like this review. I'm Archie Mono. Click my logo down there to subscribe, and I'll see you very soon for another review. Goodbye.